It's 6 p.m. on a Friday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che, here to provide you with the latest. Let us begin with the headlines. Korea's finance ministry expresses confidence that the government's extra budget will not only create jobs but also have a greater impact overall. Skeptics point out, however, the supplement is focused only on a short-term economic recovery. Donald Trump accepts the GOP's nomination for president, vowing that his foreign policy will place America's needs first. He also says he will renegotiate the terms of America's trade deals and military commitments with various countries, including South Korea. South Korea's Environment Ministry has released a list of air conditioners and air purifiers with filters that emit the toxic chemical OIT, which is related to the substance that caused problems in the recent humidifier disinfectant scandal. The Korean government unveiled the specifics of a multi-billion-dollar stimulus package, which includes a supplementary budget that's focused on cushioning the negative impact from the ongoing corporate restructuring drive. It plans to submit the extra budget bill to the National Assembly for approval next week. Our Kim Min-ji starts us off.
Breathing life into ailing industries and boosting job creation. That's the core of the 11 trillion won, or roughly $9.7 billion supplementary budget laid out by Korea's finance ministry.
The government sees now as the appropriate time for the stimulus package. Should we miss it, we could see our drivers of growth deteriorate as the country's economic growth and employment figures contract.
The nation's major shipbuilders are already engaging in aggressive downsizing amid an industry-wide slump. Part of the budget supplement will be used to increase the capital base of state banks, which are shouldering the shipbuilders' debt, as well as help the shipbuilding companies win orders for government vessels. Some funds will also go to job creation in regions where the nation's shipyards are concentrated by way of job training and providing support to help firms retain skilled workers. Creating jobs for young people as well as help for people looking to launch startups will also be some of the projects funded. Another chunk of the budget will be used to revitalize local economies by fostering the tourism sector and other industries in the region. The central government will also look to expand local government finances so it can offer more help in education and other fields. The remainder will be used for public debt redemption, a move seen as necessary to maintain the country's fiscal soundness. The Finance Ministry expects the extra budget will help create some 68,000 jobs and lift the country's growth rate by up to 0.2 percentage point in 2016 and 2017. It says the overall impact will likely be greater when taking into account the total stimulus package worth 28 trillion won, or roughly $24.6 billion, which will come in the form of increased investments in state corporations and policy funds. But there are doubts on how effective the package will be.
There will be positive effects, but not as much as the government expects. Of the 11 trillion won, not even half of it will be used to actually lift the economy. So it probably won't be able to prop up the growth rate significantly.
Experts say despite the extra budget, the government will likely fall short of its growth target of 2.8% this year, as it's focused on short-term economic recovery rather than boosting the country's growth potential and fostering new growth engines. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Korea's three main parties are still sharply divided over the decision to station the U.S. missile defense system known as THAAD on the Korean peninsula. It's essential versus it deteriorates government-people relationships. Our Ji Myung-gil zooms in on the discord at the National Assembly.
The three parties took the opportunity to express their views on the THAAD deployment at three separate events on Friday. During a press briefing, a ruling Saenuri Party lawmaker said the world is concerned about North Korea's growing military provocations, which are aggravating peace and stability on the Korean peninsula. Therefore, he said a THAAD deployment is not a choice but is essential for military readiness. The party is adamant that THAAD is crucial for South Korea's self-defense, and Chung called on the opposition bloc to support it.
We strongly urge the opposition leadership to stop dividing the public over THAAD deployment. Security matters can't be politicized.
Over on the opposition side, the Minju Party of Korea said at an interim leadership meeting it is concerned about the deteriorating relationship between the government and the people.
Looking at the current situation, we're very worried about whether the government can systematically manage state affairs.
At its interim leadership meeting, the minor opposition People's Party refuted the ruling party's claim that the opposition is dividing the public.
The only way to stop the division is by submitting a motion for parliamentary approval. There will need to be discussion on the said issue in parliament.
Park also urged the ruling party to accept the party's proposal to establish a special parliamentary committee on THAAD, which the Minju Party already accepted. The opposition parties called for dialogue with North Korea instead of the THAAD deployment, which they said could push the Korean peninsula into a new Cold War era. Kim Young-git, Arirang News.
And ever since the location of THAAD in South Korea was announced last week, North Korea has been condemning the deployment harder than ever. From verbal attacks to even missile launches, the regime seems to be incurring in more bellicose tactics to prevent the defense system from ever being stationed in the south. Kim Hyun-bin tells us more.
For 9 consecutive days, Pyongyang has been bashing Seoul and Washington for their decision to deploy the THAAD missile defense system to South Korea. North Korea's Korean Central News Agency reported on Friday that the deployment of THAAD is a deception to conquer the world and a means to preemptively nuclear strike not only the regime but also the region. Pyongyang pointed out that the THAAD deployment will increase tensions on the Korean peninsula and emphasized that the battery will also harm the environment greatly. The report went on to say that Pyongyang supports the protests in Seongju County and urged residents to continue their fight against the deployment, which is scheduled to take place before the end of 2017. Seongju County was selected as the location where THAAD is to be stationed, as the site has been deemed by Seoul and Washington to have the most advantages strategically for THAAD's operational range. Pyongyang added that the U.S. missile defense system will not be able to counter all its missile attacks. Since Seoul confirmed Seongju as a THAAD site in South Korea on July 13th, North Korea has been condemning Seoul and Washington continuously, going as far as threatening with physical action against the two allies and test-firing 3 ballistic missiles on Tuesday. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
Keeping our sights fixated on the communist state, a secret second North Korean nuclear site may have been found. The reclusive regime is suspected of using the facility during the early stages of its uranium enrichment program in the 1990s. For details, let's turn to our Connie Kim.
A U.S.-based research institute says it may have pinpointed one of North Korea's secret facilities for enriching uranium used in its nuclear bombs. The Institute for Science and International Studies said Thursday the facility is located some 43 kilometers west of the Yangbyon nuclear facility. It's believed to be within an aircraft parts factory built into a mountain next to Bangyeon Air Base, making it easier to hide nuclear activity. Although the institute said there's no evidence the facility is still operational, it pointed out the place may also have been used to research construction of the Yangbyon nuclear facility from the 1990s to early 2000. North Korea revealed its uranium enrichment facility at Yangbyon to a U.S. scientist in 2010, insisting the North does not have any other production-scale gas centrifuge plants. However, many North Korea watchers have remained skeptical of the claim, and many predict Pyongyang has been attempting to construct more uranium enrichment facilities ever since a 1994 agreement between the U.S. and North Korea in Geneva.
The Geneva Accord is centered around North Korea producing much less plutonium. Pyongyang had warned it would not give up its nuclear weapons program and would instead produce uranium. What's worrisome is that a massive number of nuclear weapons can be produced with uranium.
Experts warn North Korea is simultaneously working on its nuclear weapons production and improving its nuclear capabilities by test-firing mid-range missiles and submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Backing such claims, Pyongyang has conducted 16 missile launches this year alone. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Turning over to the U.S., Donald Trump formally accepts his party's nomination for president at the culmination of the 4-day Republican National Convention in Cleveland, Ohio. With the official nomination, Trump's unconventional foreign policy views are once again in the spotlight. Park Ji-won looks into what the former reality show star describes as Americanism.
Donald Trump accepted his party's nomination for president by vowing to put America's interests first above those of other countries and to lead the country back to safety. His speech came as this year's Republican National Convention wrapped up in Cleveland on Thursday night.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo as long as we are led by politicians who will not put America first. Then we can be assured that other nations will not treat America with respect.
Trump criticized Hillary Clinton on foreign policy, saying she has made the country weaker and a more dangerous place to live. He took aim at his rival for supporting, quote, job-killing trade deals with other countries, including the one with South Korea. A day earlier, Trump reiterated his non-traditional foreign policy stance in an interview with the New York Times, saying once again that U.S. allies, including South Korea, will have to contribute more if they want U.S. military protection. On South Korea, Trump said there's no guarantee that the U.S. troop presence will lead to peace in the region, as North Korea has become stronger in recent years. He also mentioned the possibility of abandoning NATO members if they are attacked, saying he would decide based on their contributions to the U.S. Back at the convention, one of Trump's foreign policy advisors, Joseph Schmitz, defended Trump's unconventional views in a briefing and tried to dispel concerns about his experience.
Mr. Trump is not only a successful businessman, he's a successful international businessman. I mean, he has been overseas. He understands that other parts of the world have special challenges. Speaking for myself, I see Korea as a very, very important ally.
Schmitz also defended Trump's statements on trade, saying it's not that he doesn't want trade deals, but the deals need to be reevaluated, just as with America's defense alliance deals.
The nature of a deal, it's a win-win relationship. And sometimes deals over time change based on circumstances that weren't anticipated by the parties. And that's all Mr. Trump is saying. We need to constantly reevaluate so that our deals with Korea and with any other nation are win-win deals.
He also said Trump just wants to be fair with America's allies and tough with its enemies. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Moving on to other stories now, the government has released another list of air conditioners and air purifiers in the nation that use filters containing a harmful chemical not unrelated to the substance involved in the recent oxyhumidifier sterilizer scandal. The Environment Ministry has advised the related manufacturers of the problematic filters to recall the products in question. Lee Min-young updates us on the developing scandal.
Korea's Environment Ministry said Friday the filters installed in 33 air conditioner models and 51 air purifier models sold in the country emit the toxic chemical octylilothiazolinone, or OIT, which is harmful to the human body. The announcement is a revision from Wednesday's announcement that filters used by 58 air purifier and 27 air conditioner models emit OIT. The toxic chemical OIT is a substance related to CMIT, which was the substance that caused problems in the recent humidifier disinfectant scandal. The ministry officially designated OIT as a toxic chemical in 2014, as it is known to cause allergic reactions. The government had previously found that a significant amount of OIT was released into the air when the air conditioners were turned on, but it still says more research should be done to verify the harmful effects.
Our experiment detected OIT being emitted from the products, but the level of concentration of the substance in the air turned out to be lower than we thought, which means there should be more discussions about the actual effects of OIT.
The official added, however, that even though more research on the inhalation toxicity of the substance is required, the government will advise the relevant companies to recall their products to prevent any future damage. Home air conditioning units made by LG topped the list, with 25 models confirmed to contain the toxic substance, followed by products from Samsung Electronics. The company's air purifier models were also included in the list, and OIT was also detected in the filters of air purifiers manufactured by Cuckoo and Winia. Most of the products on the list used filters produced by global multinational 3M, which said Friday that it would voluntarily recall all problematic filters. Lee Min-young, Arirang News.
Audi Volkswagen Korea has announced it will voluntarily suspend sales of cars caught up in a scandal involving false claims over emissions and noise levels. With that, the scandal-ridden German automaker is finally bowing to the pressure from the Korean government. Here's Kim Hye-sung with the full story.
Audi Volkswagen Korea said Friday the sales suspension will start on Monday and involves 34 models. The 72 sub-models on the list include the Golf, Jetta, TDI, Audi A6, and other diesel-powered vehicles and gasoline-powered cars. Seoul's Environment Ministry has been pushing for a sales suspension based on an investigation into allegations the company submitted forged documents to obtain sales approval certifications. The German carmaker sent notices to dealers in Korea on Thursday. It said it made the decision because distributors in Korea reported struggling with management strategies and its consumers are confused. But experts say the carmaker made the move to quell deteriorating public opinion against the company in Korea.
If Audi Volkswagen Korea hadn't suspended sales of the troubled models themselves, the Korean government would have forced the suspension by the end of the month.
Audi Volkswagen Korea is expected to clarify its position on the sales suspension at a hearing held by the Environment Ministry on Monday. If the sales suspension is confirmed, the German automaker will not be able to sell the cars in Korea until it renews its emission-related certifications. Kim Hye-sung, Arirang News.
A plane run by North Korea's national airline Air Koryo made an emergency landing in China after it caught fire Friday morning. The aircraft en route from Pyongyang to Beijing made an emergency landing in the northeastern city of Shenyang 30 minutes into the flight because the cabin started to fill with smoke. None of the 60 passengers and 15 cabin crew on board were injured. The cause of the fire is not yet known, and members of the Air Koryo crew have refused to comment. The North Korean airliner only serves flights to China and Russia. That's all from us at this hour. As always, thank you for watching.